niggas lost, no priority. I never been a part of a sorority. I always been a part of the minority.
First and foremost, we want to give all Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, and all praises to the Most High God, in the name of His only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, Yahushai HaMashiach in the Hebrew. We are the sect of the Sicarii. We come week in and week out to not only prophesy the downfall of this wicked, debaucherous kingdom, America, but also tell you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans that you are the 12 tribes of Israel scattered to the four corners of the earth. That girl goofy. A lot of people say all y'all do is yell at brothers on the corners and rebuke people, and you know, it's a lot of crying, right? So we're gonna go into something a little more lighthearted and tender and sweet and soft and lovey-dovey and, you know, cuddly puppy type, you know?
Bring that out.
Let's get Luke chapter 4 and start at 16.
It's the book of Luke, chapter 4, verse 16. And he came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up. And his custom was, he went into the synagogue on the Sabbath day and stood up for to read. And there was delivered unto him the book of the prophet Isaiah.
And there was delivered unto him the book of the prophet Isaiah. Right? Go ahead.
And when he had opened the book, he found the place where it was written, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me.
The Spirit of the Lord is upon us. Go ahead.
Because he hath anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted.
We out here to speak the gospel to the poor. Not all the poor, but the poor of Israel. To speak the gospel to the Israelites. Right? Go ahead.
To preach deliverance to the captives.
Deliverance to those that are in prison. Deliverance to these Israelites walking around here lost and in captivity. Go ahead.
And recovering of sight to the blind. To set at liberty them that are bruised.
To set at liberty them that are bruised. Read.
To preach the acceptable year of the Lord.
Which is when the Most High, when He's going to send His Son again. Right?
It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 61, verse 1. The Spirit of the Lord God is upon me, because the Lord hath anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek.
This is what Christ was reading when it said that he stood up in the synagogue and he preached the gospel. It said he opened the book, and now you're reading what he read. Isaiah 61. Read it again.
It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 61, verse 1. The Spirit of the Lord God is upon me, because the Lord hath anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. He hath sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and to the opening of the prison to them that are bound, to proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord, and the day of vengeance of our God.
And the day of vengeance. That day when we're saved up out of here, as well as the day that America will be destroyed. Right? Let me get that. This is the book of Numbers, chapter 12 and verse 3. Now, the man Moses was very meek. See, but in order to do that, it said to preach the gospel to the meek. Moses was a meek man. He was a humble man. He was a lowly man. Read. Above all the men which were upon the face of the earth. You got a lot of prideful people out here. Okay? Go ahead. And the Lord spake suddenly unto Moses. Listen on there, listen on there. Come on, man, it's 2020. We gotta stop living like these other nations.
Bring it out.
You don't see Asian people dressing up. The black man want to be white so bad that he ain't realized how foolish it is for him to walk around like the Flintstones.
Bring it out.
Right? Go ahead, man.
It's the book of Psalms, chapter 37, verse 11. But the meek shall inherit the earth.
But the meek shall inherit the earth. The lowly. Y'all are good. Y'all are good. Y'all keep walking straight through, man. Y'all good. But the meek shall inherit the earth, right? The lowly. Go ahead.
And shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace.
And they shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace which shall be bestowed upon them. They shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace. Why? Because of their humility and their meekness, there's going to be a day where they will see peace. Right? That's it on that, right? Come on.
Zephaniah 23.
This is the book of Zephaniah, chapter 2 and verse 3. Seek ye the Lord, all ye meek of the earth. That's what we're supposed to do. If you call yourself the meek of the earth, you should be seeking the Lord. You can't be meek and dressing up, celebrating anything that pertains to wickedness. Show me Israelites celebrating Halloween. See, Esau, the so-called white man, is a two-time loser.
Bring that out.
His kingdom is finished. Read. Seek ye the Lord, all ye meek of the earth. Seek ye the Lord, all ye meek of the earth. The humble of the earth. Right? Finish it. Which have wrought his judgment. Seek righteousness. You gotta seek righteousness. That's what we need to be seeking. For the law of the Lord is righteousness. Seek righteousness. That's how you guide yourself in this. Watch this. Let me get Jeremiah 10. I'm gonna show y'all something. What's your nationality, young lady? What's your nationality? Yeah, you know what it is. Yeah, alright. Go ahead.
It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 10, verse 1. Hear you the word the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus said the Lord, learn not the ways of the heathen.
Learn not the ways of the heathen. Learn not the ways of the white, the Asian, the African, the East Indian, the Arab. Learn not the ways of the other nations. You got a God. You got someone that sustains you. You got someone that feeds you, clothes you, pay your bills. Read.
And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. For the heathen are dismayed at them.
Go ahead.
For the customs of the people are vain.
The customs of the people are vain. We got to set up this. Let me tell you something. I thought America was a Christian nation. But I guarantee you'll see churches that have Halloween decorations. Go ahead. But we're going to go into something a little different. This is talking about Christmas. And I'm going to see if y'all recognize it. Read.
For one cutteth a tree out of the forest.
One cuts a tree out of the forest. That's where you get your Christmas tree. And if you're poor nowadays, you buy it from Walmart. Go ahead.
The work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. They deck it with silver and gold.
They deck that tree with silver and gold. You know what that tree talking about, young lady.
They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not.
And when you get that tree, you put it in the tree stand, and then you put nails in it so that it don't move nowhere. Y'all remember? We was all in the world. We all had that tree stand. It was a green one, wasn't it? And it had the little nails you just screw in the sides, put the water in it. I don't want it to die yet. I be delivering packages. I go to somebody's house, I see a Christmas tree still in their house today, and the lights on it. Tell me where they get that from? Where they do that at? Go ahead.
Verse 5. They are as upright as a palm tree.
But y'all see the palm trees? They are as upright as a palm tree. Read.
But speak not.
But they speak not. Why? Because they ain't got no power in them. They ain't no gods. They speak not. Go ahead.
They must needs be born because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil. Neither also is it in them to do good.
Neither is it in them to do good. Oh my God. Let's get her away. Go open them presents in a couple weeks.
Verse 6. For as much as there is none like unto thee, O Lord, thou art great.
For as much as there is no one like the Most High, he is great. Go ahead.
And thy name is great in might. Who would not fear thee, O King of nations? For to thee doth it pertain.
Go ahead. On the top, I guess.
This is the book of the Epistle of Jeremiah, verse 1.
The letter to Jeremiah, all right, chapter 1. This is what they would consider the 6th book of Baruch.
Verse 1. Because of the sins which ye have committed before God, ye shall be led away captives into Babylon.
Because of the sins we committed, we were led away captives into spiritual Babylon. You understand? That's where we at right now. Babylon. Go ahead.
Ye shall be led away captives into Babylon by Nebuchadnezzar, king of the Babylonians. So when ye be come unto Babylon, ye shall remain.
When you come into Babylon, you shall remain. You ain't going nowhere. Go ahead.
Ye shall remain there many years, and for a long season.
How long we been in America? How long we been subject to our enemies? Go ahead.
Namely, 7 generations. And after that, I will bring you away peaceably from thence. Now shall ye see in Babylon gods of silver and of gold.
And when you in Babylon, you're going to see gods of silver and gold. Go ahead.
And of wood, borne upon shoulders, which cause the nations to fear.
Watch. When you see them people carrying that statue on their shoulders, people be like, oh, what is that? They afraid. And oh man, when you see them videos when them statues fall, and people just, oh, ay Dios mío, no, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, man, that's what happens. All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
Verse 5. Beware, therefore, that ye in no wise be like to strangers. Neither be ye afraid of them.
Hey, don't be like them strangers, and neither be afraid of those things.
That's right.
Don't be afraid of those statues that they put up on their shoulders. You go to Vegas, you got the building that got the you know, all them statues and everything like that. Caesar's Palace, all them other places, man. Right? They erect these things up so that people fear their gods. Right? Go ahead.
When ye see the multitude before them and behind them, worshiping them, but say ye in your hearts, O Lord, we must worship thee, for mine angel is with you, and I myself caring for your souls. As for their tongue, it is polished by the workmen.
Their tongue is polished by the workmen. Why? Because they're just statues. They're just metal, wood, stone. Go ahead.
And they themselves are gilded and laid over with silver. Yet are they but false and cannot speak.
Yet but are they false but cannot speak.
And taking gold as it were for a virgin that loveth to go gay.
Remember that? Yeah. Go ahead.
They make crowns for the heads of their gods.
Now watch. Think about it like this, right? You see a statue. They'll decorate that statue. They'll put a crown on the head of that statue. Right? Go ahead.
Sometimes also the priests convey from their gods gold and silver and bestow it upon themselves.
Go ahead.
Yea, they will give thereof to the common harlots and deck them as men with garments, being gods of silver and gods of gold and wood. Yet cannot these gods save themselves from rust and moths.
Hey. And yet these gods that are erected in the land cannot even save themselves from dust or moths. Right? It's going to tell you, somebody got to wipe them off.
Though they be covered with purple raiment, they wipe their faces because of the dust of the temple.
Somebody has to wipe off those statues. So you have to understand, those statues have no power. Right? Only the power in which someone tries to give them. But the Most High just told you, even that, there's no power in that. Those statues can't talk. Them statues can't wipe themselves off. Alright? Go ahead.
They wipe their faces because of the dust of the temple, when there is much upon them. And he that cannot put to death one that offended him holdeth a scepter.
Holdeth the scepter, right? He that cannot put to death one that offended him holdeth a scepter. What is that saying? That statue has a scepter in his hand. And you can say, you ain't shit. And that statue ain't gonna be able to do nothing to you. Go ahead.
As though he were a judge of the country.
As though he were a judge of the country. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 15. He hath also in his right hand a dagger and an axe, but cannot deliver himself from war and thieves.
Read it again.
Verse 15. He hath also in his right hand a dagger and an axe, but cannot deliver himself from war and thieves.
Watch this. In La Mirada, they got the police station, the city of La Mirada, and then they got this water park right behind it, right? There's a statue in front of the water park area, right? And it's some dude, he's got a sword on this side, and he's got a pistol on this side. And there's no name under the statue, it's just a statue. But you're literally looking at something that they've erected up in front of their place, that can't do nothing, can't fight for itself, can't defend itself, can't put judgment on nobody. Alright, go ahead.
Alright, where was Rashad at?
Are you good? Verse 16. Whereby they are known not to be gods, therefore fear them not.
Therefore fear them not. Go ahead.
Verse 17. For like as a vessel that a man useth is nothing worth when it is broken.
Like a vessel that a man uses, it's not worth anything once it's broken. Right? Go ahead.
Even so, it is with their gods. When they be set up in the temple, their eyes be full of dust through the feet of them that come in. And as the doors are made sure on every side upon them that offendeth the king, as being committed to suffer death, even so the priests make fast their temples with doors, with locks and bars, lest their gods be spoiled with robbers.
Let somebody come through and rob their gods. Let somebody come through and take that crown off that god's head, or take the robe off his shoulders or something. So what the priests did was they would put doors on the building and this and the other. Right? That's it on there? It's a lot. It's a lot. Go ahead. Keep going.
Verse 19.
That's like someone saying they about to rob God. Our God, right? Yeah. Well, a man robbed God, right? But y'all could have robbed those people because their statues couldn't do nothing, right? Go ahead.
Verse 19. They light them candles, yea, more than for themselves, whereof they cannot see one. They are as one of the beams of the temple, yet they say their hearts are gnawed upon by things creeping out of the earth. And when they eat them and their clothes, they feel it not. Their faces are black through the smoke that cometh out of the temple.
Their faces are black through the smoke that cometh out the temple. Go ahead.
Verse 22. Upon their bodies and heads sit bats, swallows, and birds, and the cats also.
You know birds do to one of them statues. You know what I'm saying? But then people look at them statues like those are powerful things. Go ahead.
Verse 23. By this ye may know that there are no gods.
By the show of these things, that's how you know they are no gods. They have no power. Right? Go ahead.
Therefore, fear them not. Notwithstanding the gold that is about them to make them beautiful, except they wipe off the rust, they will not shine. For neither, when they were molten, did they feel it. The things wherein there is no breath are bought for a most high price.
And those things don't have no breath, and they're purchased for a high price. Right? All those statues. That's it on there? I mean, there's more, but yeah. No, keep going.
Verse 26.
This whole thing is about idolatry. Go ahead.
Verse 26. They are borne upon shoulders, having no feet, whereby they declare unto men that they be nothing worth. They also that serve them are ashamed. For if they fall to the ground at any time, neither, if one set them upright, can they move of themselves.
Even if they fall to the ground and you pick it back up, they still can't move. They can't go nowhere. They ain't gonna do nothing. Go ahead.
Neither, if they be bowed down, can they make themselves straight. But they set gifts before them as unto dead men.
And then they put gifts in front of it as unto dead men. Go ahead.
As for the things that are sacrificed unto them, their priests sell and abuse. In like manner, their wives lay a part thereof in song. But unto the poor and impotent they give nothing of it. Menstruous women and women in childbed eat their sacrifices. Book of Bel and the Dragon, verse 3. Now the Babylonians had an idol called Bel.
The Babylonians had an idol called Bel. Go ahead.
And there were spent upon him every day 12 great measures of fine flour.
And that's what they would put, that's what they would give to Bel, right? The idol. fine flour, go ahead,
and 40 sheep, and 6 vessels of wine. And the king worshipped it, and went daily to adore it. But Daniel worshipped his own God. And the king said unto him, Why dost thou not worship Baal?
And the king said unto Daniel, Why won't you worship Baal? Go ahead.
Who answered and said, Because I may not worship idols made with hands.
Daniel said, I may not worship idols made with hands. Right? Go ahead.
But the living God, who have created the heaven and the earth, that have sovereignty over all flesh. Verse 6. Then said the king unto him, Thinkest thou not that Baal is a living God?
You don't think Baal is a living God? That's what he asked him. You don't think Baal is a living God? What are you, crazy? This is Baal, baby. Go ahead.
Thinkest thou not that Baal is a living God? Seest thou not how much he eateth and drinketh every day?
Hey, all that food we bring to Baal, all that wine we bring to Baal. Cause watch, they would bring this stuff every single day. What happened?
It stayed there rotting.
Don't worry. Watch.
Then Daniel smiled and said,
Then Daniel smiled.
O king, be not deceived, for this is but clay within and brass without.
Hey, be not deceived, for this is just clay within and brass without. There's no soul in Baal. There's no soul in that thing that y'all erected. Right? Go ahead. In your statue.
And did never eat or drink anything.
And that statue never ate any of that stuff y'all put in there, and never drank any of that wine y'all kept putting in there. Go ahead.
So the king was wroth, and called for his priests, and said unto them, If ye tell me not who this is that devoureth these expenses, ye shall die.
The king told the priests, if you don't tell me who ate this food and drank all this wine, y'all gonna die. Cause Daniel's telling me that that thing can't eat that stuff. What's going on? Go ahead. What's going on? You know? What's going on?
But if ye can certify me that Baal devoured them,
but if you can assure me that Baal is the one that ate this, go ahead.
Then Daniel shall die.
Then Daniel shall die. If you can prove to me that Baal ate that food and drank them 4 things of wine, then Daniel's gonna die. Because he's talking against y'all God, our God, that I worship every day, and I bring food to and drink, and be merry. Go ahead.
For he has spoken blasphemy against Baal. And Daniel said unto the king, Let it be according to thy word. Verse 10. Now the priests of Baal were 70, beside their wives and children.
The priests of Baal was 70. How many is that, folks? Huh? 70. 1 score, huh? No. 1 score. What up, fam? I ain't forget faces, man. 1 score is 20. So 3 score is 60 plus 10, which is 70. All praises, fam. Yeah, man. Good to see y'all. All right, all right.
Going back to verse 9. So like at verse 10. Now the priests of Baal were 70, beside their wives and children.
So that's 70 priests beside dealing with their wives and children, right? So you didn't know how many wives and children it was, but there was 70 priests. Y'all heard how much food they was taking there, right? All right.
And the king went with Daniel into the temple of Baal. So Baal's priest said, Lo, we go out, but thou, O king, set on the meat and make ready the wine, and shut the door fast, and seal it with thine own signet.
and seal it with your signet. Right? Go ahead.
And tomorrow, when thou comest in, if thou findest not that Bel hath eaten up all, we will suffer death. Or else Daniel, that speaketh falsely against us. And they little regarded it, for under the table they had made a privy entrance.
Trap door.
A trap door. They was trapping back then.
Whereby they entered in continually and consumed those things.
They would come in there every day and eat that stuff. Alright? Go ahead. Them 70 priests and their wives and children ate every single day that food that he kept putting in there. Go ahead.
Verse 14. So when they were gone forth, the king set meats before the Bel. Now Daniel,
You know that was all cooked food, man.
Now Daniel had commanded his servants to bring ashes, and those they strewed throughout all the temple in the presence of the king alone. Then went they out and shut the door and sealed it with the king's signet, and so departed.
They already know, bro.
Now in the night came the priests with their wives and children, as they were wont to do.
Hold on, read that part again.
Now in the night came the priests with their wives and children, as they were wont to do.
As they've done it every other time. The priests and their wives and children snuck into the temple, right?
And did eat and drink up all. In the morning, betime the king arose, and Daniel with them. And the king said, Daniel, are the seals whole? And he said, Yea, O king, they be whole. And as soon as he had opened,
so once again, that seal was never cracked, right? Go ahead. So you walk up to the temple, and you see the seal still there, and you be like, well, Daniel, is the seal still on it? Well, of course, king, the seal is still on it. Go ahead.
Verse 18. And as soon as he had opened the door, the king looked upon the table and cried with a loud voice, Great art thou, O Bel, and with thee is no deceit at all.
And with you is no deceit at all. Go ahead.
And then laughed Daniel, and held the king that he...
You know how Jake be, man. Jake will sit there and just start giggling, boy. Like, hey, is you crazy? Don't read.
Verse 19. Then laughed Daniel, and held the king that he should not go in, and said, Behold, now the pavement. And mark well those footsteps, whose footsteps are these. And the king said, I see the footsteps of men, women, and children. And then the king was angry, and took the priests with their wives and children, who showed him the privy doors.
So he said he got the wives, the children, and the priests, and he said, show me that private door. Show me that entrance. There you go.
And took the priests with their wives and children, who showed him the privy doors where they came in, and consumed such things as were upon the table. Therefore the king slew them, and delivered Bel into Daniel's power, who destroyed him and his temple.
And the king killed those priests and gave the temple to Daniel, and Daniel destroyed the temple. Alright? Now, how can I assist you, sisters? Listen, for sure. No worries. What was your question?
My ex came crawling back, fell up in the rap game. Niggas started falling back. Niggas pledging lead to the flag, but I'm calling cap. Niggas rapping money, no precious metals. Wood grain steering wheel when the Lexus pedal. While we getting gunned down by these treacherous devils. On the real, I'm trying to build like Tetris levels.